Okay, welcome to another SEO rant with Josh Bachynski. Today I have some very interesting stuff to cover. Still working through my backlog when I was on vacation and got sick there. But I have a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. I'm going to try and get through quite a bit of it today, actually. So, the first, a lot of really interesting leaks and SEO tidbits. Okay, so the first one is a confirmation back on the 11th of March from a John Mueller and Maria hangout that Panda does use usage metrics. When they're talking about the low quality algorithm, usually they're talking about Panda. John Mueller confirmed that in a previous hangout. So, and then they talked about when they're talking about low quality, they're talking about usage metrics. And so Panda does use usage metrics. It looks for satisfaction with your users, so whatever that's going to be. And there's a couple, as far as I can tell from what they've leaked over the months, there's a couple things it looks for. There's kind of some static things it looks for, and then some user metric-based things it looks for. The static things it looks for seem to be, garbage text, malicious dupe content, let's say cross-domain dupe content, things like that. And then on the other side, it seems to, on usage metric side, it seems to look for various things that would tell them that the users are satisfied with the site. So that has to do with the search retries. So they go to the SERP, they click on yours, they go back, they go to your site, they read it or whatever, they don't like it, they go back to the SERP and they click on another result. That's what you want to avoid, right? It either seems to me that either triggers Panda to come look at your site when it happens too much, or that algorithm is directly used in Panda or some other algorithm. It doesn't really matter what algorithm it's used in. It's used on a regular basis, and now that they're not announcing Panda updates anymore, by the way, if you didn't know, they're not announcing Panda updates anymore. They're making a rolling algorithm since the 25th of March. So now your site's just going to go up and down, and it's going to be even harder to tell what the exact thing is to fix. So usage metrics is being used anyway. Whether it's Panda or not doesn't really matter at this point because they're not announcing that algorithm anymore. They also did say that time on site doesn't matter per se, and the bounce rate doesn't matter per se alone, but taken together with whether or not they click something else in the SERP, and whether or not returning visitors come back, and whether or not your internal click-through rate is good or not. Those are the kinds of things that are going to tell them whether the users are enjoying your site and whether or not people are coming back and whether or not it's satisfying searcher intent. So those are the kinds of things you need to watch out for. And they've said time and time again, and I'm going to say for 2013, this is the biggest ranking factor or the newest ranking factor or the underwatched thing you need to watch the most is usage metrics in 2013. Okay, the next thing that they were asked was, whenever I'm getting a link from a site, and I've kind of asked for the link or I've negotiated a link, or it's kind of like an attribution link, should I no-follow those links? Should I no-follow all my links? And the answer was no. They cannot, and I quote, unilaterally say, end quote, to no-follow your links. That's not a good plan because it will rob you of the page rank that would have flowed through those links. The vast majority of the page rank. I have some experiments I ran a year or two ago showed that no-follow still seemed to give you some page rank, but that may or may not be the case. It certainly is used in their semantic latent indexing. So if you have a bunch of no-follow links that say you're about red apples, they'll start ranking you for red apples if that page has enough page rank from other links, right? So they will, or they used to use that. I'm not sure if they do that anymore. I need to do more research on that. In fact, I have a question into my Google contacts to see if they even use anchor text and links at all anymore. Because I'm wondering if they do or if they don't. Because I'm seeing some pages rank with just on-page signals with no links at all whatsoever in very, very low competition niches. So I'm wondering how much, because it can be spammed, I'm wondering how much they actually rely on the anchor text to tell them what that page is about. Anyway, they suggest not to no-follow all of your links. Don't get worried. Remember, Google has to give you the benefit of the doubt. If they started devaluing and even penalizing any link that even looked remotely suspect, there would be bedlam, right? So they have to give you the benefit of the doubt. You don't need to jump the gun and no-follow links or disavow links unless you know that there's a problem. You've received an unnatural link notice, or you've been hit on a confirmed penguin date. Hopefully they will still confirm those dates. Okay, so if your links are on relevant blogs or articles, then it should be fine. Again, that's their words. I would actually be a little bit more careful than they were in the video. There's a couple things you want to watch out for when making links. There's too many really to go over now, but it has to look natural. Everything you do has to look natural. So it does not look natural. It looks very contrived if you have all your links are in the signature of an article database, or they don't like article sites. So they've already said they don't like article sites, so ignore article sites from that mention. If it's coming from an article on a respected newspaper site, great. If the link is coming from a blog post that doesn't look like it was written by you for whatever reason, great. Otherwise, you have to watch out for everything else. And if you want more information on how to do the best linking in that regard, black hat linking, just send me an email. I'll mention it now. My email address is joshbachynski@gmail.com. You can also hit me up on Twitter at joshbachynski. And you can watch the rest of these videos on YouTube at /jbachins, YouTube/JBACHYNS. Okay, so there's that. Now, the next point is someone noticed on their site that they were sending an HTTP status header of 302. 302 is like a 301. It means move temporarily. And what Google will do is when they receive a 302 is they will spider the original page and they will spider the page that it points to. Sorry, my camera's backwards. So they'll spider both pages, and they might serve either one depending on various algorithms and what they can tell is more relevant to the query. Now, I've talked about link routers before. A 302, this is very interesting because that means you can use a 302 like a 301 or like a rel canonical duplicate page as what I call a link router. Link routers are very important in terms of if you're going to be doing any gray hat or black hat linking. Essentially the idea, and if you want more information, by all means contact me because it's a very important and very sneaky tactic that I like to use quite a bit and it works very well, is that if you're going to be making any links that you're not sure if Google is going to respect them or not, it doesn't matter if it's white hat links, gray hat links, or black hat links. It's a foregone conclusion that you have to trust Google when you're making any links at all, right? So if you're worried at all that Google will devalue any links and you don't want to get penalized for those links, what you can do is you can link to a link router that routes the link juice to the actual target. So you make a link, it links out to a page, and that page goes back to another page. So this router one here, that could be a 302, that could be a 301, that could be a rel canonical duplicate page, and then it's going to route the link juice. I've already talked a little bit about that, about 301s and rel canonical, but 302 is also one you can use there. And if they choose to rank the one that has all the links, fine, they can do that. But anyway, so it's another, just keep that under your hat. It's another feather in your cap, so to speak. It's another tool in your tool belt you can use when you might want to look at doing some link routing to protect your site, because protecting your site has nothing to do with black hat. It has everything to do with worrying what crazy, stupid thing Google's going to do next. Okay, the next thing is, I also asked them another question. Some of my clients are having trouble with the disavow text. Many of my clients are getting out, disavowing some links once or twice, and I've asked them before, and I've done it, I've checked it out, and you can get out if you disavow enough links. There's just a magic number you need to hit. It's got to be 80 or 90% of the suspect links. Now, however, some of my clients are, we're doing this again and again and again and again, and I'm wondering, some of my clients were a little naughty, and they have like 80 or 90% of their backlinks, or even 95 or 100% of the backlinks, are all suspect, pretty low quality black hat links. So I've been asking Google, how many do I need to disavow? So I recently asked on the 11th on this hangout, I asked, what if I disavow them all? What if we disavow every single link in the backlink profile? And will that be enough of a show of good faith? Will that be enough for you to get the site so we can build it up again? And I've got some interesting answers on that. The first answer I got from Maria, which is a Google employee who sometimes does these hangouts with John Mueller, said that that'd be going too far, quote unquote. and that will, disavowing them all, will remove all of the link juice, and that if that will disavow all the good link juice and the bad link juice. And so if all of the domains are, if all the links to the domain are suspect, or they say unnatural, as if I know, which I don't, and as if the site owner knows. The site owner doesn't always know either, because maybe they got this SEO guy or that SEO guy, they bought this Fiverr Pro, whatever. They don't know all the links are natural or not. It's sometimes hard to tell, right? Anyway, but they say if you know they're all unnatural, that you can just change domains. So the question is, okay, fine, you can do that. So disavowing all of them would be like changing domains. But what if you can't change domains? And then in the course of the discussion, they reiterated the fact that, and I quote, "You just need a sufficient number of links removed," end quote. And so I know some people who are using the Disavow tool feel like there's no way to get out. And, that could be the case, but I don't think so, because all indications from Google seem to me that you need to remove, and I quote, "a significant number," end quote, of links in the Disavow tool. So there's some magic number you need to hit, some 80%, some 90% threshold. Once you've disavowed enough links, they will remove the manual penalty. And again, I asked this question again of John Mueller because I didn't like that answer and I wanted to get more information of it. And he said he wouldn't recommend disavowing all the links because he said, and I quote, "It makes it hard for us to understand your site," end quote. So I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means it implies there's a penalty. If you disavow too many links in the Disavow tool, they start trusting your site less. That it could very well mean that, right? So it could also mean that it just simply means that they don't know what it's about. But that's not the way he said it. I think it implies that there's some kind of a penalty there. So be careful if you disavow too many links. If you were going to do that, you might as well. And he reiterated the same thing on the 15th Hangout when I asked him again. Is that if you know you have 95% spammy backlinks, quote unquote, then just start a new URL. That would be the best thing to do. And then I asked, well, what are spammy links? And the spammy links are non-editorial, are on a page that are not on a single topic. They're embedded with many other spam links. So if that's what the majority, they're comment links, they're article directory links. So if that is what the majority of your backlinks are, if 95% of your links are like that, even disavowing them all may not help, and that might actually put your site in more suspicion. You might, at that point, when you get to the point where you have to disavow them all, you might want to get to the point where you just want to change domains and try that. But if you're not so drastic, you're not at that point, it's only like 40% are spam links or 60% are spam links, then it might be worth it to go through the trouble of disavowing a bunch, trying the reconsideration request, waiting a month. Disavow another bunch, try reconsideration request, waiting a month. Because you might be better that way. It's going to either take 6 to 9 months to re-rank your site, or it's going to take 6 to 9 months to do this disavow jiggery-pokery. The question is yours. How much is the domain worth to you, and how long do you want to wait, right? If you go one route, you could get it out sooner. If you go another route, it's going to take 6 or 9 months to re-rank. But who knows? Maybe you didn't choose a very good domain name, and I can find, or you can find a great exact match domain for yourself, and you might be ranking faster that way, actually. So that's what you need to weigh. There's things to weigh there. Okay. So that was the disavow all question. A few other juicy tidbits that I want to mention. One, if you need Google to spider your site on a regular basis, or if you need them to spider new content that they haven't spidered yet, you can use PubSubHubub. That's PubSubHubub, PubSubHubub, which is a kind of a spidering service for blogs. But apparently, this is right from Google. You can use this, and they will come and they will spider the page right away. And that way, if you're putting out new content on your site, and you don't want people to spider it, you don't want people to steal it or scrape it, you want to make sure Google knows that it's your content, you can use PubSubHubub, and they will index the page, and hopefully, if you have more authority, they'll at least attribute the content to you. Okay, here's another thing that they reiterated. It's very important for you to watch your top ranking pages. I mentioned in my last week's video about Miley Oye's video about how to use Webmaster Tools, Google Webmaster Tools, to watch your top pages and see the click-through rate and whatnot. It's very important to use that to watch your top ranking pages, and you can tell what the click-through rate is, and the click-through rate does matter for ranking, according to her video. So not only do you get the direct benefit if you increase your click-through rate, that you get more people to your site right away, and it can also possibly rank better insofar as you've labeled the page better and your usage metrics get better, and they can tell what's on your page, they click through, and they're satisfied when they get there. Okay, another thing that John Mueller and Maria were nice enough to leak and mention was about their spun page spam detection. Someone asked them how well their spun page spam detection is getting these days, and you know, they waffled on how well it is, but they did mention kind of what they're looking for. They're looking for stuff like gibberish text, clear bad grammar, clear nonsense text, and they're also looking for advertorial type pages. They're looking for advertorial type links and off-topic links. Again, if your link is embedded with a bunch of other links for Viagra this and Cialis that, unless that's what that page is about and that's what all the pages are about on there, that's a bad sign, right? So not only, I shouldn't have used that example, not only those particular spammy niches, right? But I mean anything. If it's one link is about cars, one link is about dolls, one link is about whatever, resorts, one link is about hotels, that's not good. That's all the different, that's different topics, right? And that's how they clearly tell that the link is either paid or that's a clear signal that the link is placed. It's not an editorial link. It's not a blog page about XYZ with a link to XYZ with no other links in the content section, right? Or in the link section. Okay, so keep that in mind for when you're doing your spinning and when you're placing your links. All right, more tidbits. Okay, very recently, not a lot of people saw this, but I did. There was a Webmaster Hangout with the Indian, that is to say the team from India, that Google outsources a lot of their manual spam actions to. Not a lot of people know this, but they have a team of many thousand spam finders in India, which they set up in January of 2012 or so. There's another hangout that came out around that time. And so this hangout came out that I'm referring to came out on March 19th. And not a lot of good information from the Indian spam finders, Google employees, for work on their manual spam team. But they did mention, they were asked, should I add more content to my site? And this ties actually into something that John Mueller also mentioned on the 15th on his Hangout. And the question is, should I add more content to my site? Do big sites rank better? The Google employees from India mentioned, do not add content to your site willy-nilly. Only add content to your site if you know it's going to have good usage metrics. If it's not going to have good usage metrics, if users are not going to enjoy the content, which is the context they put it in, quote unquote, then the content is not going to help you rank. In fact, it's increasing your liability, right? So do not add boat anchor content, boring content, or content that does not answer the searcher question or allow the searcher to do what it is they want to do. Do not add that kind of content to your site, just thinking more content is better, because it's not. Add useful content that's going to answer the searcher question on the well-labeled page that clearly tells them what the page is about. So, for example, if they're looking for Red Apples, Red Apple review, I'm going to use my Red Apples example, then that would be, your title would say, review on Red Apples. They'd click on it. It would be a review about Red Apples. It would be hopefully interesting and funny, and they would hopefully share it. But at the very least, it would be a review on Red Apples, whatever Red Apples is, a review on XYZ. And so they get exactly what they are looking for, and hopefully they're satisfied so they don't go back to the SERP and click on some other result. Because if that happens too long, John Mueller says they aggregate these usage metric signals, and after a couple months, you will see ranking changes based on user metrics. In fact, my recent experiment that I'm about to put out this week on my Orange Platoon Cucumber search environment shows that actually it could work even faster. It could be to the minute. It could be to the day usage metrics, and you will see ranking changes. So watch out for that. It's my next Mastering Google video that I'm going to be putting out on continuing on my Orange Platoon Cucumber experiment about This time about usage metrics. Before I did linking and on-page signals ranking in this completely contrived search environment that I made up. Now I'm going to do usage metrics, and the results are rather startling. Okay, and that ties. So that ties into a hangout that John Mueller also did on the 15th, and I asked him, "Are bigger sites better?" And he said, and I quote, "Bigger sites don't necessarily rank better," end quote. But they often do. Do not let that fool you. They often do rank better, right? So, yes, do have more pages. So bigger sites do rank better as long as people are enjoying that content. So the content that you add to your site, again, you have to get a good writer. They have to write punchy, interesting articles with beautiful pictures and charts and movies and graphs and images. A big hero image at the top of the screen that they have to scroll for is not such a bad thing as long as it's a great image and it's a very interesting topic. But if you have to watch usage metrics, so people are bouncing because they don't like it, then you have to remove that image, right? And don't let them scroll. So you have to clearly label what's on that page in the titles. This is SEO on page 101. You have to clearly label what's on that page in the titles. If it's a review about XYZ, then this is, wow, the best review on XYZ I've ever read. Something like that. So it's enticing, it's clearly labeled, they'll click on it. Once they get there, it has to be what you said it was going to be, right? They have to read it, and hopefully they like it and they're satisfied. It answers their question, it gives them all the information that they wanted, they don't need to go anywhere else. People like top 5 lists, they like things broken down into, if they're just scanning, they like top 5 lists, they like things broken down like that, top 10, and then text and talking and graphs and charts and movies and everything else. And punchy, funny, interesting, that's the best idea. That way, not only are they satisfied, not only is it clearly labeled and they're satisfied, they might even share it and they might even link to it naturally. Wow, wouldn't that be the way it's supposed to work? Wouldn't that'd be wonderful? So hopefully you can get that kind of thing done. And yes, so if you can do that on every page, bigger sites are way better. Way better. They do have a ranking bonus. So that is, content marketing certainly is a valid, a well-used SEO tactic, and I certainly suggest it. Okily dokily. Okay, so now getting into this, so that was all from the 11th and a bit from the 15th. Now getting into the hangout that was on the 15th, that was all the stuff that was leaked in. Yes, authorship is very likely to be a fairly strong ranking signal in the future. They're going to float more for personalization. If people start reading all the articles by Josh Bachynski, my little Josh Bachynski snippet there, actually I don't even have it on anywhere because I don't care, I make videos. But if I did write blog pieces or articles, I would use the authorship, and the people who start reading my stuff, Google will track that, and then they'll start floating up my stuff even more often. They already do. The authorship algorithm already works, and there's many experiments already showing that. So if you can get authorship going, if you have text pages, and it makes any sense to get authorship going, get it going with your Google Plus profile page, and that might even be the social account you want to use when you're doing your social signals that are very, very important for ranking these days as well. And if you want more information on how to use social, I've seen some great results recently. I had a site, I know I've mentioned this before, but I just want to mention it again. I had a site that did nothing but social and got a page rank of 3. I'm not kidding. They did nothing but social and got a page rank of 3. They have no backlinks whatsoever. And so social works, people. 2012, it didn't really work too much, but 2013, it certainly is. So they've changed the algos. They've admitted it at SMX West that social is ranking both in Bing and Google. If they kind of use it as the final say, quote unquote, to kind of confirm the other signals, and so you can get big returns in social. So if you're going to do the authorship, you might as well do the social at the same time because you're using use that same profile, I would suggest. Or you can use 2 if you want, but that doubles your work, although it's not a lot of work. But if you want more information on social and how you can do that, and actually it's pretty easy to get it going, just email me at joshbachynski@gmail.com. And I'll send you my spiel on how we do it, and you can choose either, you can see how we do it, and you can either replicate that and do it yourself, or maybe we can do it for you. Shameless plug, shameless plug. Okay, the next one is, oh yes, here's another question that they were asked. This is a very interesting one too. Preventative disavow. Should you go in, and before you get any ranking drops, and before you get an unnatural link notice, and before you're hit by Penguin, should you go in and preventatively disavow links that are spammy or the ones that you're worried about, that you know you bought, you're worried they might catch you? Should you do that? They kind of waffle on the answer, but my interpretation is that, yes, they said you can do that. So they didn't say, no, don't do that, it's dangerous. Like they did when I say, can you disavow all your links? They said, no, don't do that, it's dangerous, right? This time they didn't say that. Haha. This time they said, you can do that. There's no harm in doing that, quote unquote. So in my mind, the way they were talking about it, they didn't like, oh, don't do that. They were like, yeah, you can do that. Yeah, it won't harm your site. That's kind of the way they said it. So, I mean, you can go and watch it yourself. It's on the hangout that was on the 15th with John Mueller and Maria. I don't have the time index when it was in there, but it's very early in my notes, so it must have been, pretty early in the hangout, the first 10, 20 minutes. And that, to me, implies that it might not be a bad idea to do. So if you need someone... Now, before you go out and start disavowing tons of links, you need someone who knows what they're doing, who can do their best guesstimate of what links are valuable and what links are not. And only disavow the links that are not valuable, because then you are shooting yourself in the foot. I know I've said this again. I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it a million times, because it happens so much. A person contacts me and says, I disavowed all my links because I was scared. And now my rankings have gone. Now Google found it. No, you negative SEO'd yourself. That's what you did. So don't do that. See, this is why it's called SEO rants. Don't do that. Make sure you get someone who knows how to tell what links are helping you rank, to give you a list of what, out of that, what are not helping you rank. Get a list out of that to disavow those links. Okay. So, that is about the half-hour mark. How much more do you want to watch of me? Why do you want to watch me at all? I don't know why. I don't know why people watch these things. I will talk about... That's where I'll cut it off. So, I got way more interesting tidbits on my next sheet of paper here. But I'll save it. I'll dole it out over time, and eventually I'll catch up, because John Mueller and Maria are busier these days. So that's all I'm going to dole out for now. So if you have any questions about anything I talked about, as always, or if you have any questions you want me to answer in the video on air, hopefully I'll get my Mac fixed so I can actually hang out on Google+, and you can actually drop in and ask questions. But you can always ask me questions on my email at joshbachynski@gmail.com. You can ask me at Twitter at joshbachynski. Or you can put comments on the YouTube feed /jbachins, or you can connect in Google+, Josh Bachynski, just search my name, it'll be there, or SEO Hangouts with Josh Bachynski is the original page that I originally started doing this on. You can contact me in any of those ways you like. Or you can send me a letter. What's wrong with the letter, right? People don't send letters anymore. Okay, so that's everything for me for today. So I hope you enjoyed my SEO ranting, or diatribe, my SEO diatribe if you prefer that word. And we'll see you next week, and good luck in the SERPs.